This is your ideal starter's board. Like somebody says, what do I need to build a pedal board? Where do I start? You're going to give your personal recommendations. To build an essential guitar rig, where does a man like you start?
With the tuner, always first.
Tuner? So you're going with a tuner and you're not doing the clip-on.
If you don't have, well, you can't rock with a tuner. Like, think about it. What rock star has used a clip-on tuner and looked awesome?
Not one.
There's not. I mean, I know people use them because, you know, you don't lose space on a pedal board, but you know, it's hard to get your mullet flowing whenever you're rocking a...
Weirdly enough, there's definitely multiple tuners in here.
Well, they all sound different.
Yeah, oh, okay.
I don't even see any tuners. Do you even tune? You don't tune, do you?
I don't tune, which would explain my videos. Back there.
Okay, so we have oh, okay, and there's a polytune.
There's another one down there.
Where?
I see one.
Oh, you have two. You have a Polytune 2 and a Polytune 3. Well, this is a true bypass and a buffer. That's just true bypass, apparently.
What does true bypass and buffer mean, for those who don't know?
So true bypass means your signal, whenever it's off, your signal comes in and goes out, just like there's nothing in the way. The best way to explain a buffer is if you have a bunch of cable or a bunch of pedals, and you don't have a buffer, then you're gonna start to lose high end. Through the magic sorcery of circuitry, it makes it so the cable doesn't take off the high end. We need a compressor for sure. I like to run my compressor before any sort of dirt, personally. You don't have to, I just like it better that way. So let's see what compressor options you got. Oh, you got a JHS Fruit of the Loom pedal.
Yes, the whitey tighty.
Yeah, let's go with the Fruit of the Loom pedal.
Okay, the Fruit of the Loom. Is that an inside joke with you and Josh?
No, it's Fruit of the Looms. I mean, some people use Hanes. I think Fruit of the Looms actually don't restrict as much.
We're going overdrive next, you say?
We're going overdrive. I really like top-mounted jacks because you can fit Mo on there. Nope, Keely's not. Empress is not. XR is not.
I got a lot of overdrive pedals and none of them are top mount.
I know a guy that makes them. Let's go with the Nobles, which is kind of a staple, especially here in Nashville. Super cool overdrive. Nice and transparent down low. And a favorite of Tom Bukovac.
That's a very rare Nobles too. Tim Pierce gave me that.
Oh, Tim gave you this, huh?
Yeah, he said he has 10. And I was like, okay.
They all sound different. They really do. The tolerance is all wacky on them.
Yeah, apparently that's an early 90s if I'm not mistaken.
That's cool. Some of these things I'm not sure what they do actually. Like,
isn't that the fun of pedals?
what is this one? Oh, it's Old Blood Noise. I've never played that one.
That's a delay reverb thing.
So it's not a distortion.
No, it's if you're looking for distortion.
Are there certain areas?
No, it's all just it's all by size. What I could fit perfectly.
Maybe I should go backwards because to me, like overdrive and distortion, I like a lot of flavors. So maybe I should start with like reverb and then go delay, like work backwards.
Okay.
And see how much space I got.
It's your board.
Blue Sky's a cool one. That might be a good one, but that's kind of like everyone uses a Strymon.
As far as reverb goes,
Reverb, yeah. Maybe.
Yes, there's something called the Wash. That's a really neat reverb pedal that I got. Actually, he drove out to meet me in Asheville at a bar, and he gave me that. This knob here does like a modulation effect.
Does it do delay as well? It does do delay?
Yeah, it's like I got a delay mix and presence.
Oh, well, that's perfect. Let's run with that.
When you're looking for any guitar pedal, how much is it by its looks versus the sound? Like, is it like guitars where you see it on the wall and you're like, ooh?
No, so this is kind of one of the weird things about me. I actually could care less what it looks like. Yeah, even our own pedals, I don't do any of the graphics or the colors because I don't like it. I really like here's one of my old ones, for example. I just wanted it to be silver with no marking. Just, you know, play around with knobs, figure it out. But the people around me said, you know, we'll probably sell a lot more if we put, you know, a name on it and markings that tell me what it does.
Just stick to building the pedals, man.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, stick to the breadboard, dork. At this point, looks like I do need some mini pedals because I've got that top row that's not gonna fit a regular size pedal very well. What's a Javelina?
That is a boost type pedal.
Well, JHS loves their undergarments, don't they?
Yep.
That's an envelope filter, obviously.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice pedal right there.
Huh.
New XFX.
I haven't...
Not Nux effects.
Yeah, it's not Nux?
No.
I've always thought it was Nux.
It's hard picking from a big line of pedals you haven't seen before.
It really is.
What are you going for right now? Distortion?
I'm trying to find different flavors of overdrive or distortion. So for example, I know I'm going to be using the AT. But I also already have a JHS pedal on there.
The Walrus Iron Horse is a nice flavor of...
Ooh, that's a good call. I've heard of it, but I haven't played it.
Yeah.
Is it nice?
It's quite nice. It's rich.
We need more distortion. So I'm gonna go with the JHS AT pedal.
You've had your eye on that one for a while. What's so great about it?
You know, I love this circuit. If I can go into Nerdville for a minute, it's a non-inverting into an inverting op-amp style clipping circuit that clips to ground, and it has a special type of feel, and I just like it. It's really similar to like a Governor or a Shredmaster or a Sir Riot, or there's a bunch of pedals that kind of follow that topology, and it's just it's a cool thing. It's a cool sound. Okay, so at this point, I think we need some fuzz. I see the Empress there.
The Empress fuzz is pretty clean. The La Machine is a nice kind of octave fuzz.
This is?
Mm-hmm. And the Rotten Apple is really good. Like I said, that Dan Electro Eisenhower fuzz is
this one
really psychedelic.
Well, let's try that. This is, I've never actually played this, but the relicking is interesting. I've got the Nemesis at home, and I like this a lot. So
go with the Nemesis. All right, can you explain what's happening right now?
Okay, so we're listening to some odd AM radio station.
It's coming out of the amp, which obviously means it's picked up by one of these pedals.
Right. So we started trying to isolate everything to figure out where it was coming from. And so whenever I just happened to hit this, I took the power away from the pedal, because if you have power on a pedal, and even though it's off, it's still, the power is actually still engaged. You're just routing the signal around the circuit, so it doesn't make any, doesn't go through it.
Why is that one pedal doing that? Is it something? Sometimes
it can be a like part of the design, like maybe you didn't put some filtering in. Other times it could be layout. That's normally what it is, just a kind of a weird, not a weird bit. The actual circuit board layout can cause some noise problems if not done in a particular way. So that would be my first guess. I haven't opened it up, so I don't know.
Maybe we'll open it up if we have time.
I find a lot of handmade pedals have problems like this more often than something that's been like professionally laid out. Mm-hmm. Just because it can go wrong so much easier. So.
All right, we're gonna have to replace the wash with something else. Never happened to me before in this studio, only when Brian comes. And we've isolated the cause after swapping out some pedals. We had to swap out the wash because that's what we thought it was. And it turns out it's the Nobles, which I've used before, so I've never had this problem using it. Only in Nashville here, and it's this very specific coordinates. It's picking up some crazy broadcast. And do you have any idea why this would be?
More than likely, it's probably just the filtering on the input's probably a little off, or it could just be the layout on this particular.
It is an old pedal.
Yeah, because it's an older one. They've redesigned the circuit board, I believe, since then. So it's probably just something as simple as that. But if it ever does happen with the pedal you have, there are ways to fix it sometimes. So for it helps.
All right.
More than likely, it's probably just the filtering on the input's probably a little off, or it could just be the layout on this particular.
It is an old pedal.
Yeah, because it's an older one. They've redesigned the circuit board, I believe, since then. So it's probably just something as simple as that.
Trey's entered the equation.
Hi.
So we're gonna go with another overdrive.
So let's. Does that fit? Oh, that must be the wrong spot.
Oh yeah.
Let's try that one. There we go.
Don't mess up my feng shui.
I know. I don't want to do that. Okay, so I know. I quote unquote think I know that the MXR modified OD should work pretty well in place of the the ODR one.
Okay.
So let's try that guy.
There's also a sparkly version of that if you care.
Oh, always go with sparkle.
Sparkly?
Because glitter, you know. So let's go with the glitter.
All right.
The ODR one.
Okay.
So let's try that guy.
There's also a sparkly version of that if you care.
Oh, always go with sparkle.
Sparkly?
Because glitter, you know. So let's go with the glitter.
This is the final board. Can you give a 12-second synopsis of what you think you came up with?
Right now, yeah, I'm going up to here, up to this, into the walrus, into the into the fuzz, into this blade, into that blade. So, you know, when you're building a dad rock board and you're wearing your dad rock shorts.
I like those knees.
I made sure I wore my dad clothes today. What you really need is a lot of dirt, some delay, and a little bit of reverb from the amp in this instance. So if you don't have an amp with reverb, just throw a reverb pedal in there. You're probably not going to be playing in a church, I imagine, if you're building a dad rock board. Well, you might be able to.
But the church has reverb anyway.
But the church has, yeah, but if
cathedral verb, as I call it.
So if I was building a praise and worship board, it'd be completely different. But this is I'm going to drink some beer and play in the VFW board.
But this is also a pretty versatile board for a lot of different genres too. I would say.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, you have fuzz, you have delay, you got distortion types and compression, and I'd say this covers a pretty big gambit.
Yeah, but where are your white New Balance, you poser? Yeah. Wearing gray Nikes.
They were dirty from NAMM. I couldn't wear these.
So why don't you take us through? You don't have to spend too much time on each pedal, but like go through how you like, you know, different pedal combinations and what your maybe like 5 presets would be if you had to build something out.
So I'm playing your PRS, which is actually really nice. I like it.
It is indeed.
So we got a compressor here, we got an overdrive here, compression. Does what you would think compression would do. If you're doing if you're doing sort of a country sort of thing, I like to run a little bit of compression, a little bit of dirt, and
Did you mean to hit that flat there?
No,
because that sounded awesome.
Yeah, that's what I actually.
You should do that again and play that every time.
Usually I do that.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
I didn't react quick enough. The other hand.
That was sweet.
But yeah, so that's probably my sound most of the time. It's a little bit of compression, a little bit of overdrive, and a really loud amp. Mm-hmm. You know, so other than that, let's go to that. We got different types of overdrive and distortion. So going to the walrus. Something a little more chewy, a little more grindy than an overdrive.
And this is important vernacular to have as a pedal nerd, because you need to know what you're looking for and describe your tone in ways that maybe just go beyond the traditional high-end, mid-range.
Yeah, there's only terms that guitarists understand, like the chewiness, for example. I mean, when you're talking to an engineer or you're designing something, you can never say make it more chewy. You have to, like if you're talking engineering terms, you're saying increase resistance before the first non-inverting op amp, you know? Because you have to know what makes it more chewy.
I mean, naturally, that's what you say, Trey. This pedal has more before the first inverting op circuitry.
Right. So if you're a guitar player, it's like, just make it more chewy, you know, or make it more woody or whatever, you know, whatever sound you're looking for.
Okay.
Versus, you know, speaking of woody, like I go into the at pedal. To me, it's not as chewy. It's a little more boxy in a good way. You know, not boxy like you're playing through a little Fender Pro Junior and, you know, something like that.
It's sort of more refined, like a pointier edge to the,
I think so, yeah.
Frequency range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I got, I'm really, like, I use that pedal just because, I don't I don't want to have it scooped. Like I want the mids, I want the highs.
And that's what I like about the air knob on that. It kind of does something to that mid-range.
Yeah, it's a really cool feature on that. I forget what they're doing there, but yeah, sounds good on it.
It's before the invert. You're gonna want to hit the
automatic
stage.
Infrared reduction.
Yeah,
AIR.
It's not the inverting.
It's simple. No. I'll teach you all about it later. It's fine. We've got overdrive, fuzz, distortion.
Sure.
And then this one is like
kind of overdrive and distortion sort of thing. I mean, so many people don't understand like the difference between them, and really a lot of it's kind of terminology. I mean, I've seen some overdrives that are actually more like distortions.
Yeah.
And I've seen some distortions that are kind of more like an overdrive.
Sometimes it's whatever's kind of in vogue at the moment. I think kind of recently the idea of a distortion pedal has been like off limits because we think of like, I don't know, something like the Metal Zone, which, because most people don't really know how to use it, because I was 14 and I bought it and I didn't know what to do with it, and I spent hours tweaking the knobs and it was terrible. But, you know, so sometimes distortion pedals are now being marketed as like a preamp pedal.
Right.
So that people, the end user...
The idea of preamp and overdrive and warm, like that's very hip in this current day. And
also because it kind of gives you... an instruction. If it's a preamp pedal, you're gonna put it in the effects loop return so that it's you're skipping the preamp on your amp,
bypassing that preamp.
You know.
So which of these would you use in tandem, as far as or are these just different options?
I mean, both really. So I mean, they are different options by themselves. But I mean, if you stack things, so let me see what we got here. Let me go into the Iron Horse. Whenever you're using distortion, you can hear gain a lot more just by hitting like sort of a single staccato note. So, and not that that's real handy whenever you're playing anything, but if you're, I'm trying to set up two different pedals, I'm kind of seeing how much gain I have that way. Playing with a band, if you have too much gain, a lot of times you kind of fade out of the mix.
Yeah.
You know, and I still want to hear articulation, but I still want that. To me, it's kind of like cheating. The more gain you have, the easier it kind of gets to be sloppy.
The articulation gets lost when you start stacking them up.
Right. So, I mean, there's kind of that fine line, and I've always just kind of...
So, ideally, if you're starting out, you want to pick a color and stick to that. You don't necessarily have to have three different overdrives or distortions.
Right. Overdrive into distortion is going to get you more gain, basically. Fuzz, though, this is a cool fuzz.
Yeah, this one gets gnarly higher up the neck too with the overtones.
It does like an Octavia thing then, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
that's why I like that.
That's cool. Yeah, that's real cool.
Nice. And it's sort of is easy to play, you know?
Yeah. Fuzz is, I mean, especially if that to me feels more like a tiger fuzz versus something that's real loose and, you know, just feels like it's falling apart in a good way.
Right.
But so that's a cool one. I like that.
I think it's funny that any sort of adjectives that you use to describe a sound like that, you can either be like, no, that sucks, or like, oh, it does this thing that's you think is bad, but oh, it does it in a good way.
It sounds like
it does it in a way that I like.
It sounds like it's completely falling apart and it's a piece of junk, but in a good way.
Well, thank you. All right, well, what's going on with the ambient effects here?
Okay, so two different delays. I got the carbon copy just because I like bucket brigade delays.
You know, what does that mean?
Analog delays.
Analog. Okay.
It's just, I mean, you can emulate it in DSP, but it's the real thing, so you don't have to pretend. And it's not stupid versatile like the Nemesis, but if I got the space for it, I'll probably throw it on.
Okay.
You know, especially since I've got 4 dirt pedals already.
Yeah.
So.
Are you running these in the loop right now, or is it just in front of the amp?
Right now, just completely in front of a clean amp. Now, if I was using,
I guess if it's if it's clean, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, really. Yeah, as long as, I mean, unless we start using the distortion channel or we're turning it up loud enough to get distortion, that's when like delays and reverbs really start to kind of change quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, based on what they're seeing whenever they hit the amp.
There it is.
I like that switch better. Okay.
Oh, well, you use the tap tempo, so now it's 1,000 miles apart.
Right. So that may be a little bit loud, but just kind of a quick slap back and then. Actually, that's probably a little too fast.
I'd probably turn off the reverb for
Yeah,
that
that's
sound.
quite a bit of reverb on there for. You know, just something real quick and.
And how does the compressor factor in there?
The big thing about the compressor is just going to take your dynamics and squash them down, or if you're playing lightly, it's going to bring it up. So you can kind of play lightly. And your volume is still higher than it would be versus if it was off. You know, and then when you dig in, turn that blend all the way up. When you dig in, it squashes the level. You know, versus, well, it's probably going to clip the amp, but you know, it's just trying to bring the level that you're playing closer, so it's compressing it.
I see.
The compressor is compressing.
That's the best way I can explain it without drawing diagrams and and charts and stuff.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but generally it's more important to use on a clean tone because a clean tone is going to be more dynamic and it's actually going to affect the volume level that's coming out of your amp. And if you compress it more, you're not going to have your engineer back there like playing with the fader. It's going to come out a little more even. You're not going to destroy people.
there's two different places. I prefer it at the front. Some people prefer it at the end and just leave it on all the time. So it is a consistent level all the time. I tend to think when you put it before dirt, it kind of smooths out some of the rough edges of dirt.
Yeah.
So I mean, and we're getting pretty nitpicky about sound here. And at the end of the day, no one in the audience can hear it. No one really cares, except for us. And the guitar player in the back corner with his arms folded.
Yeah.
Those are the only.
I can do that, but
and he'll never be happy anyways. So
Right.
you might as well make him miserable.
So I think we've all learned a lot today, and you can learn obviously a lot more from Brian. What would you say? Chasing Tone podcast? Is this maybe something that would appear on there?
This would be a combination of my YouTube channel with probably the Chasing Tone podcast.
And you also build amazing guitar pedals, none of which are featured here, but
yeah, I didn't want to do any.
That's fine. So check out Brian's guitar pedals and his YouTube channel and his podcast. Check out Trey's YouTube channel, Gear Gods, and I think the last thing we have to do is turn all these pedals on at once and see what happens, except the tuner. That one's on.
My body is ready. It's something.
I like that.
I kind of like it.
Can we put all that? You build pedals. Can we just put that sound into a pedal?
We can actually. Yes, it can be done.